Hello. Welcome everyone to round 11 here at Singapore for the 4.9 kilometer circuit, 19 corners of absolute madness, no doubt. Drivers very close to the wall, so it's going to be a very challenging race, no doubt, for the majority of these drivers. So we've got 31 laps to absolutely smash it and do whatever they can to ideally everyone stay out of the walls, as it is quite a tight and narrow circuit here, and track temperatures will no doubt be fairly high going into the majority of this race. So yeah, so everyone is in the pits, just sorting out all of their setups for the race. Well, for this short qualifying session, only 18 drivers today, so not too bad of a turnout overall. So as we just wait for our first driver to come out, and it does, as we say that, actually a couple of drivers are on their way out. I believe one of the Hasses, by the looks of this. We've got Red Bull, Racing Bull, the Mercedes, we have Adam as well, all out on their laps. So Beef, is the first driver out on track for his opening flying lap and to set our provisional time in this session. So they do have 3 DRS zones around here, one just early on between turns 5 and 7, one later on between 13 and 14, and their final DRS down at between the final corner of turn 19 and turn 1 down the main straight. So fairly high downforce circuit as well, looking to maximise whatever they can through pretty much low and medium speed corners here. Maybe a possibility of turn 5 being a fairly high speed corner, with the fact it's got the DRS zone around it. We do have Thief starting his and openness here with his and everyone's first flying lap. We also have Fives just behind him as well, looking to start his first flying lap. May get a little bit of toe actually, the benefit of it, just the tad, possibly not much though, with Thief setting a 26 seconds and Fives then going slightly quicker through sector 1, as Thief does come down into turns 10, 11 and 12, which are very tight. Not much room for error around here, taking as much curb as possibly as humanly possible through there. Not always easy, and we have lost a driver quite early on here. Not too sure what's happened with McCoy, maybe possibly of a qualifying ban, maybe, not too sure. We'll find out very soon. So Thief and Fives looking very strong at the minute through their first couple of laps as we go round turns 18 and 19 in a moment. Ooh, it did look as if Fives had a little wobble on the exit there, but Thief does come across the line with a 29.2, and Five quickly follows that with a 28.0, very quick time for the Sauber driver. and a good benchmark for Thief to possibly go on and set another lap time shortly. Adam quickly follows that up by going second and with a 28.2, Mr. G with a 28.5, Pizza here with a 30.4, and we do have Oscar now coming up to finish his lap. We've also got his teammate just about to start his flying lap, so we'll go on board Oliver in a moment as Oscar comes around turn 19 and across the line into P4. A good looking end to his lap there as we go on board Oliver now with Capitano going into P8 as well. Devon going P6 in the Haas there, looking to looking with decent with a fairly competitive time for his first lap. Could potentially go quicker, and by the looks of this, Oliver has got a purple sector 1 and looking very, very strong here. Let's go on board and see how he does with from the rough perspective of this driver. So as we come up to the second DRS zone, up in to the very tight there, very close to the exit wall of at turn 14 and 15 here. As we go into 16 to 17, very tight right, left, and not at all any room for error. Very close to the wall as much as possible, keeps just within limits and goes before in his Alpine there. Quite a strong lap from Oliver and fighting for that pole position. Seconds off his teammate, but still a lot of time for them to improve their lap times and go for another lap. It does look as if Stark now has actually started his flying lap properly. He may have just been putting a banker lap in there with that 33.8. So he will stay on board through this DRS zone up at turn 6. So as we head into turn 10 here on board Duck, looking quite a strong lap and possibly improving a fair amount here. We'll see as we come through the end of sector 2 in a moment, see how far up he is. I would suspect a good few seconds going by how much he is flying through here. He is up by 3 seconds in this lap so far, looking very, very strong. This no doubt is proper flying lap. Is running out of fuel slightly though, so could go in, but I don't see it considering how much he is up, and he does go around the final corner properly and across the line to go 13th fastest. Has gained some time on his teammate and only a few tenths off the championship leader of Anime, who now goes for another flying lap in his Ferrari here. We will sit on board the championship leader, see how we go. It takes us lap from the outside of the car as we come up to turn 5 now. DRS will be wide open now, and he does have it open, not using the overtake button, but as he enters the DRS zone, but does on towards the end of it, setting his car up nicely here for the entry of there. Takes that nicely as well as we head up into turns 10, 11, 12, possibly some of the tightest part of the track here, and very little room for error. Into the second DRS zone here, looking quite strong as he no doubt feels he should be going into the oh, he has taken that slightly wide. That's going to be unfortunate there for Anime. Not the lap he would have wanted, but potentially has got enough fuel to keep going in a minute. Luck does move out of his way nicely. Thief is on another flying lap and goes extremely wide there, but does keep it well within limits for that turn 5 there, as he comes through into turns 6, 7, 8 at the moment. Into turn 8. Nice, quick 90-degree corner there, as we go into another one now as well. Looking very, very strong here for Thief in his hat. Tight corners again, as we see most drivers looking very strong through there. Not many making massive mistakes through there, as we see the Mercedes moving nicely. Of, I believe, Ago possibly. So, Thief coming around. Oh, does take a bit of a knock on the exit there. Gonna be very unfortunate for him and quite costly for the rest of that lap. But Ago has unfortunately invalidated his lap quite early on here. 10-man in the Sauber now with a 28.7 so far. Looking very strong in the top 10 and potentially could be a good race for him to score a couple of points for himself and the team. That was a very quick sector 2 time there. Not 100% sure it was an actual purple sector, as it disappeared extremely quickly, but he is a 10th up on his time and looking pretty strong on this lap as we come through final couple of corners now. Battery going absolutely berserk there, trying to work out how much percentage he's got there, but he does take a few attempts out of his time, stays in P7, but does take around a 10th off. Looking very good there. So who's just moved? We've got Will, who's just gone up to P11. We've got Rowdy up into P10. Currently looking very strong with them times, looking very competitive to knock on the door and cause a few upsets further up the field. Capitano here in the Red Bull has unfortunately invalidated his time. So we've got, there you go, on his flying lap here. We've got 5s as well on another flying lap. Currently on low fuel by the looks of this, but looking to stay up in this current provisional poll, and so far looking very strong to do so. Adam on his Adam is in the pit, sorry. There you go, flying round round turns 10 and 11 here, looking quite good through there. Not too many or no mistakes by the looks of that. Takes that as a very wide line, but does well to keep it within track limits. As we come into turns 14 and 15 here, not much room, and he has unfortunately invalidated his time, but he will carry on. Rowdy into the pits, no doubt will come in as well in a moment. Pizza has invalidated as well, unfortunately for him. So as we have last 4 minutes of the session. We do have Oliver on his way back into the pits. Capitano is still going round, has just set a new lap time for himself of a 29.0 and goes P9 at the moment. Beef has unfortunately dropped to P10. Rowdy is now P11. Duck, currently on another flying lap, is a 10th up on his previous time. Looking to break into the 129s here and cause a little bit of a disturbance here of sorts into these drivers around him, and especially above him, and possibly knock a couple of drivers down from their current positions. So as we go into this second DRS zone, DRS is wide open, flying through that corner. Nice purple sector 2 there, 7 tenths up, keeps that nicely as well in track limits, and looking extremely strong to cause an upset on a few drivers above him here. Zuck is currently on a 30.072 and currently 7 tenths up, and unfortunately invalidated. Will he go again? Will he just save some of that or recharge some of that battery? Shifty now is also on a flying lap, absolutely bombing it down into the end of sector 2. Fortunately not up on his time, possibly backed out maybe by the looks of how he's taking this as a nice slow gentle drive, as well does now indeed, and he's 17 and around 1.9 seconds behind Pizza, the driver ahead of him, but looking for a very strong lap here for the Racing Bull driver. His teammate McCoy, unfortunately, not in this session at the moment. I believe it is a quali ban. I will just double check. I forgot to do that earlier. But Shifty looking strong as we head into this very position-based part of the track. McCoy, Shifty, doing very, very well for this lap. Has got the Ferrari of Anime behind him, who's on a outlap at the minute, so not too worried. So Shifty shouldn't be too worried about giving him much of a tow right now. And as we head into the final part of the lap, 3 corners to go. Shifty is hopefully going to his current lap and looks for a 31.5. Good lap there from Shifty. Unfortunately not quite enough to propel him off the bottom of the timing screens there, as Ago goes quickest with a 27.9. Fives looks to have a few cars behind him. It's going to have a little bit of traffic ahead depending on how Ryan and Zuck are doing. Sorry, both McLarens are following each other. A little bit of team play here maybe to help one another as we sit on board both of these drivers right now. Looking very, very good. They do have 8 fires behind them as well, who is the next car to cross the line in a moment. That Capitano it is indeed. Flying round these final couple of corners here. How much time will he take off? He goes into the pits. Ryan and Zuck now, the next 2 drivers across the line. And they go 11th and 12th fastest. Some good laps there from those 2 guys. Who is next across the line? We do have the Tin Man and the Alpine across next of Oliver. Got Ego on his in lap now. We've got Anime now across the line, goes 8th fastest, a cracking time there on his final flying lap. And Adam has unfortunately invalidated this lap, not what he would have wanted, chasing down Anime in the championship, but does have the advantage in this race as we finish this qualifying session. Is a few places ahead, but a very long way to go as Thief crosses the line now with and stays P10, possibly backed out of his final lap, but he did enough on his previous ones to get into the top 10 and to stay there. So overall, a very good qualifying session for the likes of, well, for the majority of these drivers here. Fives does take a pole position with a 27.8 and Ego with a 27.9 take the top 2 spots here. Very, very quick times for both of them drivers. The only two to hit the 27 second mark in the laps, or the 1 minute 27, sorry. Oliver with a 28.0 and Mr. G extremely close behind, only 24 milliseconds separates Oliver and Mr. G with their 28.035 and 28.059 respectively. Some absolutely brilliant laps there. Very yeah, so some very quick laps there for them guys, and some very impressive lap times from the top 2. So, Fives, Ego, Oliver are your top 3 in this qualifying session, and unfortunately McCoy did have a qualifying ban, so was unable to settle up. Not in the best position for this race. Will have to do a lot of work to build his way back up. His teammate Shifty, not the greatest of qualifying sessions for himself here, but no doubt, well, could potentially build his way up the grid. No doubt the Racing Bull drivers will try and work together if they can to build some points for themselves and the team. So going into the race here, drivers no doubt will be sorting their setups out, their tyre strategies, and just their rough fuel of what they're going to go into this race with. I'm going to have a quick moment's break and I'll be back. Right, so we have formation lap now. 4 drivers here warm up their tyres as much as they possibly can. Ready for 31 laps flat out here for the Singapore GP. So halfway around the formation lap, most drivers probably got somewhat half decently warm tyres. Strategies there, possible 1 stop or a 2 stop for some people depending on what they have started on. So let's get all of this up and ready. See what everyone is starting on. We've got Anime on the hards, Shifty on the softs, everyone else on the mediums. So yeah, most people on the medium tyres here looking to do probably about just shy of half race distance on them. We've got Shifty going maybe for the 2-stop strategy here of the soft, medium, or hards I think it was, or the soft, medium, depending on what tyres he has. A bit of a bold strategy, but it could work out for him going for the quicker tyre to start with the higher race fuel. But we will see what happens here for him, and definitely will definitely be one to keep an eye out in this race. So everyone now just lining up to take their grid spots. A couple of drivers unfortunately just missed it, but we do have everyone there now. We are looking for lights out here. We do have 3, 2, 1, and off we go. Ago gets off to a great start. That was a brilliant reaction. Quickly tries to cover off 5s, does defend it. Oh, and they make contact. There's a bit of a collision there with Mr. G as well, going into the back of both drivers there on turns 1 and 2. Looking very, very close at the start there. Unfortunate for them 3 drivers. 5s does stay in the lead, followed by Mr. G now up to 2nd. Ago down to 3rd. Oliver is now into 4th, closely followed by 7s now, who's up to 5th. Adam does make a small bit of connection there. A fair few bumps and scrapes going around this first half a lap right now. 7, Oliver, Adam, all battling out here for P4. 7 are off to a brilliant start here with this car he has right now, trying to close the gap as quickly as possible on Ago. We do have a yellow flag at the back of the grid here. It does look to be Tin Man, who's dropped a fair few places, maybe a spin for him there. Shifty up to 17th now, Will down to 18th. Unfortunate there for the Williams driver, but some good positives for Shifty there. Will gets past both the drivers there of Tin Man and Shifty. Looking very good opening lap for him. Well, not an amazing opening lap, but a good one there. And we did have the tyre strategies pop up again, and it was a soft, medium that Shifty could potentially be going for here. 5s still leading us away in the lead of this race, lapping so far with 30 laps to go here in the Singapore GP. Mr. G finding some form over these past few races. Good few races the last couple of weeks, and building some good points for himself so far in this season. So as he is fighting fives here for the lead, he is only half a second behind, but Ago is within that second. Could Ago cut that gap a little bit more and possibly get within DRS to make some moves on that top two? As Mr. G is 6 tenths behind, he will have the DRS, opens it nice and wide now. Fives will be at the slight disadvantage going down the straight into these corners now. Does stay ahead, is now 7 tenths ahead. Not the best of corners there for Mr. G, but does have a little bit more speed down the straights as we come into the final couple of corners here in this second lap. Mr. G and Fives very, very close as we start the third lap. So as we look further down the grid, we have got Ago at 7, Oliver and Oscar pretty close behind each other here, all looking for that final podium position. Very close racing between these guys at the minute. Unfortunately, they do have a DRS train. Unfortunately, Ago is the one without the DRS as well. Defending well. Oliver looking to make the move on the inside, but does tuck back in behind 7 here. So 7 looks does have DRS on Ago. Oliver and Oscar just swapping places between the two Alpines there, and unfortunately have dropped off the back of these two. Gaps starting to open up throughout the grid now as well. Few drivers have dropped a fair way back. Couple of drivers, in fact I believe Pizza, with him being 23 seconds behind Tin Man, I believe he has possibly boxed. So let's have a little look at that, see what tyres he is on now. He has stopped and he is on the hard tyres. Possibly try and see him through to the end, or maybe dart into the pits at the end of this race. We have on his car. Yep, they are changing that front wing for him. We have hard tyres. Slowly trying to gain his way back. Slightly behind as well. But everyone else is yet to pit. So this could pay off for Thief and Pizza here. Has Thief gone onto the hards? He has indeed. Tin Man 3 seconds behind Shifty at the minute. Not the greatest opening laps that he would have wanted. These two drivers will no doubt be wanting a safety car to try and catch back up to the rest of the pack here. McCoy and Will battling out. That looked very close. Is he going to try and get on the inside? He doesn't. Will does keep it on the outside and stays ahead of McCoy here as we go into the final part of this lap, with Will and McCoy fighting out in turns 17, 18 here. Looking very, very good for the Williams and the Racing Bull. How will they do going into this part of the track now? Will using his his battery to try and keep that gap. McCoy still with a fair bit of battery, and the DRS was wide open for him there, closing that gap, but not quite enough to try and make a move on the Williams there. But still going into very strong for McCoy. Both the Racing Bull drivers have made up a few positions here, and both looking to try and make some more moves. Unfortunately, Shifty does have a little bit of a harder task. Does also now have Tin Man right on his tail, trying to make some moves here after that earlier slight mess up he had, but gaining or coming back from that quite nicely at the minute. Will he try and make the move on Shifty in the DRS zone? Let's find out once we are past these horrible corners here. So half a second separates both of these drivers. Tin Man with DRS wide open, not quite enough speed going into turns 14 and 15 here. Couple of quick corners, but not, well, a quickish corner there, not quite enough to make any sort of move onto the straight there. As we come into turn 19, Tin Man is going to have DRS again, but can he make a move into turn 1? It is wide open. He does make them look to make it on the inside there. Doesn't quite have the speed to get alongside quick enough there. Very unfortunate for the Sauber driver, but looking very strong, and this could be damaging his tyres, or this is his fight for the race. But they are looking very good and giving us a great show here. Lock up there for Shifty. That is unfortunate. Does just try and stay ahead. Did they make a little bit of contact into that corner? Tin Man did go very, very narrow. Could have possibly have given a little bit more space, but they have been battling very well and fighting hard in this race, giving us a great show right now as well. So Shifty is going to have the DRS in a moment, or not quite. Or did he just make it, or was he just outside the detection point? Unfortunately, just outside the detection point there. Fives is currently in P1, Ago P2. Mr. G has unfortunately dropped back a fair bit there, possibly a mistake earlier on. Very unfortunate there for the Red Bull driver, but currently P5 still, and fighting it out between Oscar, 7, Ago and Oliver, all for this P2 battle now. 5 drivers all in the fight here, and this is going to be a battle that lasts a good few laps to come. Very, very strong for all of these, but it's going to be difficult for any of them to make some sort of moves due to this DRS train, but someone no doubt will make a move and disrupt a couple of these drivers about. So Oliver in the Alpine does lead this battle away, currently P2. Ago 6 tenths behind with the DRS now as well, closing very, very quickly to the Alpine driver. Not quite enough speed on his Mercedes there to make any moves into turn 14 and 15 here, as we go into turn 17 sorry now, and 18 here, looking for any sort of gap that Ago can go for. He will, well, any gap that Oliver leaves, Ago is going to try and go for and put the pressure on the Alpine, so we can try and put the pressure on the Sauber of 5s out in front. So turns 1, 2, 3, all very, very tough corners here. Mr. G is taking that inside line, has dropped off a little bit here. It's going to damage his race slightly. Has got Oscar very, very close behind. Could Oscar get past the Red Bull here of Mr. G? Will he make the move on the outside? Good in there from Mr. G. Doesn't let Oscar get past and defends that 5th spot nicely. Has got some damage there, so possibly nicked part of the wall on an earlier lap. Not what he would have wanted, but has got some time to make. Will have a chance to change that wing later on when he makes a stop, to try and gain that speed back that he's losing currently, and possibly make his way back into that podium spot, as we're on board 7 now, looking pretty strong in that Haas. About 8 tenths behind Ago now. dropping back as well, but does have, well, will have the DRS as we go into the main straight, gained enough time through them corners there, so he does get past the detection point with less than a second behind the driver. Ego making moves, Oliver making defensive moves as well, looking very, very strong battle for these two, as 7 does gain a little bit more through these two battling ahead. DRS wide open again for Ego and 7. Will Oliver go for a defensive move? Not quite this time. Ego makes it past. Oliver tries to make it. 7 tries to make it past as well. Not quite enough speed to get past the Alpine, as unfortunately for him. But these three will still battle, and it continues even longer into this race. Not one of them is willing to give up position, but giving a very, very good account for all 3 drivers. So, Mr. G currently P5 at the minute, Oscar half a second behind, Adam now closing the gap, is 7 tenths behind the Alpine driver, looking very, very strong currently in this Aston Martin, and gaining some time extremely quickly on the Alpine and Red Bull of Oscar and Mr. G. Looking to make the move on the inside there, not quite enough speed or grip around that corner, did hit the curb, took a fair bit of it as well. Oscar does unfortunately go up position, Adam makes it past, currently 1.2 behind, but got enough speed. Will he make it into this DRS zone with DRS, or is he just outside when he hit detection zone? Unfortunately just outside. Will use his overtake, and Oscar will have the DRS. Unfortunately not quite enough of an advantage for him. Anime now making moves on Capitano up into P8, as we see here. Capitano trying to defend Anime here, does do it nicely. Unfortunately looking to, unfortunately lost position there. Has got Rowdy as well on his tail, but these 3 again, another strong battle for position between a lot of these drivers here. Anime unfortunately with the disadvantage of a time penalty as well, with both drivers of Capitano and Rowdy getting the DRS. Not quite enough speed on Rowdy though to make much of a difference. They do have Ryan in the background, potentially catching pretty quickly and looking to upset these 3 if he can get into some good rhythm and gain some time on these 3 drivers. So, fair few position changes in this race. Anime still 8th, defending for anything and everything that he can in this race. Try and gain some more points and extend his lead at the top of the championship. Try and gain some points for his team as well. So far, collecting a few points, and but not that it will worry him too much with such an advantage in the championship over second place as well. So we've got Pizza, Thief and Will all on 1 stop so far, all on the hard tyres as well. Pizza did stop on lap 1, so his tyres are going to be getting to that point at some point over the next 5 to 10 laps. Will start to slowly drop off the pace. Maybe, depending on what other drivers are on, he could stay out on them till the very, very end. So yeah, just Anime unfortunately with the 3-second penalty. Not what he would have wanted so early in this race, but still got plenty of time to make that completely pointless, essentially. So 7 has got a 10-second penalty, maybe speeding in the pit lane with that. Mr. G also picked up a 3-second penalty a moment ago. Very unfortunate for both of those drivers, but Capitano with DRS has made enough of a gap now to Rowdy behind him, so he's not going to affect his race too much. We can just attack the Ferrari of Anime Boy here, looking very, very good with all of these guys. So Anime is also 1.5 seconds behind Oscar, currently P6, with the drivers ahead of them boxing a moment ago. Looking very, very strong to make a bit of a dent in this top 5 that they are closing in on. So Oscar, Mr. G and Adam fighting out for this final podium position in P4, P3 at the minute. Looking very, very strong between a lot of, well, looking to have some very strong battles towards the end of this race for the positions, as a fair few drivers have made some early stops. Oh, that was a slight bit of, well, very unfortunate slide there for Oscar. Controlled it well, kept on going, but did lose a little bit of time to Mr. G ahead. Anime now closed the gap to 3 tenths. Looking very, very strong on these hard tyres. Possibly has pulled off a very good strategy here. This could see him on the podium, or potentially could see him with the win starting on these hard tyres. Little lock up from him there though. Unfortunate for him, but still well within DRS range of Oscar and Mr. G for this P3 position. So we have still got 5s out in front, extended his lead now to 10 seconds. Let's go on board, see how he is doing. Not up to much right now, just taking his race bit by bit. So back into this four driver battle of Mr. G, Oscar, Anime, Capitano, all battling out for P3. We do have Mr. G into the pits. Anime also is stayed out as well. Capitano also stayed out. 5s has boxed now for the hard tyres. So we see Adam, Anime, Capitano now all in the top 3 here, with Rowdy in 4th, McCoy in 5th, and 5s comes out in 6th. He's going to have a little bit of work ahead of him, but knowing full well Adam, Capitano, Rowdy, McCoy will no doubt be pitting over the next couple of laps. Anime will probably be staying out for a good 6 more laps or so maybe for him. So as we move down to the mid-pack here, we've got Ago and Tin Man fighting out for P7 at the minute. Ago's probably on the fresher tyres currently. Always tapped the wall there, that's going to be unfortunate. Has he got any damage? Not by the looks of it. Has got away with that one. Not what he would have wanted, and caused a slight yellow flag down there, but nothing major. No damage from what we can see on his car there, and definitely not what he would have wanted. It's going to damage his race slightly. We've got Adam coming into the pits now as well. His teammate Rowdy going up into P3, looking a very strong race here for the Aston Martin team. Adam going onto the hard tyres for the final 16 laps. We've got fives now crossing the line to go into P4 on lap 15 of this race. We're around halfway through it now, and definitely going to be a very strong end for the majority of these guys. Fives is around 15 seconds off the lead here, and definitely would retake the lead when the top three have boxed, potentially going to lead him on to victory in this race, but we shall see. Has got a fair bit of a longer stint to do compared to some of the other drivers around him, so will he take advantage? So Capitano and Anime looking comfortable currently in second and first respectively. Capitano with the DRS, just trying to stay within it until he has to box, give himself a bit more of a buffer to third place as Rowdy does come into the pits. Fives now is probably, he is around 12 seconds behind the lead two the lead two cars. He will take the lead of this race when they both box, but it all depends on what Anime can do between now and the next 5 laps, possibly when he decides to come in. Capitano could potentially come in over the next couple of laps, but is doing a very, very good stint on them medium tyres currently. 5's down to 11 at 0.8 seconds, looking a good stint on them hard tyres for him. Ego 7 seconds behind third place, but has got fairly fresh tyres. 7 now taking the fastest lap with a 31.2. We do have a yellow flag. Oh, it's unfortunate there. What has happened? Is it Mr. G or I think Adam and Mr. G have potentially had a little bit of contact there, and both drivers were touching the water, not what they would have wanted. Thief with a 10-second penalty, unfortunately for him, very costly at this stage of the race. But with 15 or 14 laps to go for them, could he do enough to gain and get away from Shifty ahead? Got a fair bit of work to do, but it is very much doable for him if he can get a good spin after to come out the pit lane. So Adam and Maudi, the two Aston Martin drivers, just having a nice comfortable race at the minute, are currently 9th and 10th, but they do both have the pace in this race to make their way up the grid a little bit more. Can they make any moves further into these, further into this stint on the drivers ahead? And they are gaining on Mr. G currently, who does have a bit of damage to that right hand side of his wing. Very unfortunate there for the Red Bull driver. So Ryan Oliver battling out here for P6, looking very, very strong throughout the best part of this race so far. Currently 9 tenths behind Oliver. Still a fair few racing laps for him. Has he got the DRS, or was he just outside? He does have it. Well, it does open it now as well. So, as we come in to the final couple of corners of this lap, we've got Ryan and Oliver on the back of Capitano, with both with DRS, or we have got a sliding Haas somewhere there as well. Not too sure which Haas it was. Was unfortunately Thief, possibly not quite warm enough in the tyres there, but still a fair bit to go for him. So Adam and Valdi very looking good here in the Aston Martins, doing a good little bit of a team game by the looks of this, and looking quite strong to possibly overtake the cars ahead of them in a moment. They are 1.2 behind Mr. G at the minute, who is losing a fair bit of time to Ryan ahead of him. Maybe could possibly box and change that wing, put on a fresh set of tyres, but who knows what could happen for the Red Bull there. So Ryan and Capitano here batting out with Oliver as well, looking to make some moves at some point, no doubt, as Oliver is just slowly falling off of his teammate ahead. Just maybe backing Capitano and Ryan up just to give himself and his teammate a little bit of leeway in this race, as they do both sit 4th and 5th currently, both very strong positions for the two here. And Oliver defending well from Capitano in the other Red Bull here, no doubt doing his very, very best right now. That looked very, very close as well going into the on the entry there, but doing their best to keep it out of each other's gearbox and front wing as well. Very close battling and extremely good racing from everyone as well again today, giving everyone a great spectacle of racing and also showing each other a lot of respect on track as well. Five's currently 5 seconds behind Anime. Mr. G has unfortunately retired there, not too sure what's happened. I think that's just EA being EA and useless with their games as per usual. So Capitano has made a bit of a break from Ryan. 1.6 seconds is the gap. Has got DRS as well. It does make a cheeky little look on the inside. Doesn't go for the move though. Keeps it out of the way for the moment. But does have another chance with DRS here. A lot closer this time around as well. Will Capitano make the move on Oliver through this DRS zone? Not quite enough of a speed advantage this time around, but gaining a lot through the corners, or certain corners, sorry, of the track. So as we can see on board Capitano right now, and a lot of precision needed through this part of the track, not to tap any of the walls, as it is very, very costly, especially through them sorts of corners where a lot of movement is needed through the car and on the wheel. This is a very good battle between these two drivers. Oliver defending well, Capitano just trying to make whatever, or just trying to look at the safest possible move he can make. So heading down the main straight, Capitano with DRS again. Will he look for the move? No, he doesn't this time. Does stay behind, keeps it well. Anime has boxed and comes out P7 just behind Ryan here. Can he make some moves on these final 11 laps? Currently P7, has just come out the pit lane. Will probably try and get past Ryan as quick as he possibly can down either the next DRS zone or the third and final DRS zone. We'll need to also get some heat into them tyres pretty quickly and then just put away if he can from Ryan, but Ryan is going to do whatever he can to slow Anime down and defend for his life by the looks of this, taking the inside line so Anime can't quite get there. Is doing very well with this defending. Anime will have the DRS, possibly the speed advantage as well. Battery on, looks to make a move on the outside. He does. No contact there. Nice overtake on the outside. Very well done from Anime. Not much Ryan could do on the older tyres there. Anime with much fresher tyres and looking very strong going into this next lap of his. But Ryan will have DRS just to keep himself within that second range. Just out, was starting to drift out of it pretty quickly, but makes his way through. Will he be within that second mark going into the first DRS zone here? Is within that second as we cross the DRS checkpoint marker. Has it wide open. Can he close that gap even more? Has got Rowdy closing pretty quickly behind him as well. Adam has also dropped off of his teammate a little bit. Just not quite enough of a speed advantage there for Ryan on them hard tyres, but was probably hoping to try and stay within that DRS a little bit longer, as Anime now breaks to 1.5 seconds away from the McLaren driver and breaking into that probably 4.9 second mark of Capitano, who has had an unfortunate incident there and now dropped down to P6. Ooh, a little lock up there for Anime, as Capitano is reluctant to give that position up. He does not want to drop down to P6. He is fighting Anime all the way down to the corner. Tries to take the outside line, but doesn't quite make it work. Tries to switch back, but doesn't make that pay off either. Has got the DRS now on Anime, but it has also brought Ryan back into the equation. Rowdy is also closing in the background there, as we see Capitano now, no, Anime now having to defend. Capitano doing whatever he can to regain that 5th position. He will have DRS on this next straight. DRS wide open, as we see back on the back of the Red Bull and the McLaren. Both chasing down the Ferrari. Ryan possibly looking at the move, but doesn't actually do anything this time around. Anime now feeling the pressure, slight lookups on that right hand side at the front. Not what he's going to have wanted in this early part of the stint. Only 2 laps old, them tyres. Got a lot more of a speed advantage, but Capitano doing very well to stay within DRS range, with Ryan as well staying within DRS. Unfortunately, he has got the DRS, he has got his wing open, so was within that second market at the time. Oh, Capitano hitting the wall, unfortunate there for him. Will have Ryan straight past him this time around. Capitano now down to 7th. Definitely not what he would have wanted. Has lost both of his end plates there on his front wing. Will he go in and change that this time around? No, he doesn't. He stays out for another lap. That's going to be extremely costly here in these final 8 laps of the Singapore Grand Prix. Not the easiest of corners to take with no end plates there. Not what the Red Bull driver would have wanted so late in the race. As Oliver now has also dropped down to P5. Not too sure what's happened there. Anime up to P4. Having a great stint so far on these medium tyres. Pulled off a brilliant strategy so far from what it looks. We've got Oscar now P3 looking pretty strong in that Alpine. About 3.2 seconds, about 3 seconds now behind Ago in the Mercedes here. Also looking at a strong race from this driver, currently 9.8 seconds behind. Our Sauber leader now of 5s has basically led this race from start to finish, apart from a few laps after he boxed. But a very, very strong outing so far for 5s, and potentially taking home a race win here. So we have got a few battles going on. We've got Ryan, Rowdy, Capitano goes into the pit lane now to probably change that front wing, and no surprises there really for him. Adam now up into P8, 6.5 seconds behind his teammate. Both of the Aston Martins though having very strong races, currently 7th and 8th respectively, with Rowdy a little bit further behind Ryan and what he probably would have wanted going into this DRS zone, but closing that gap. Ryan not able to close the gap much with the DRS open, has got it down to 0.8 of a second, and looking to try and close that gap as he enters into, does tap the wall there slightly. That's going to be slightly costly now. Has lost around 4 tenths with that. Not what he would have wanted, as Rowdy now closes that gap to 1.1 seconds, with Ryan closing the gap for Oliver a little bit more now. He's finding some pace in the late stages of this race, currently 1.1 behind, and gaining very, very quickly on Oliver here, who's on the hard tyres, to compare to. Ryan is also on the hard tyres as well. What else? Who else is running them? Let's have a little look here. So we've only got Anime 7, Capitano and Shifty on the medium tyres. We've got Thief on the softs, and everyone else on the hard compound tyres. And so far they seem to be the somewhat slightly quicker tyre around here. But as we see, Capitano is on the fresher tyre. He is no doubt going to be flying to try and catch up with Will, try and make something out of this race. He has dropped a fair few positions under that pit stop with the wing change. He does have around 6 laps to try and salvage possibly a point for himself here and the Red Bull team. So Rowdy currently 1.3 behind Ryan, who was also around a second behind Oliver. Unfortunately didn't get DRS that time around, but probably aiming to try and get it for the main straight in a moment. Rowdy now 0.9 of a second behind the McLaren driver. So Oscar now 2.5 seconds behind Ago, looking for that second position now, 2.7 behind. Will he be able to close that gap in the next 4 laps? We'll go back and have a look in a moment. So Ago still around the 9.8, 9.9 seconds from 5s. Just hasn't really closed the gap. Just staying within a sort of safe distance for himself. Has also got a time penalty as Capitano sets the fastest lap of the race late on here with a 30.9. Is on the 2 lap old fresh mediums, but no doubt will be even quicker in another lap or two. Ryan down to 6 tenths behind Rowdy, who has got past in the last half a lap or so. Both now probably going to try and close the gap to Oliver, with Ryan having the DRS here, closing, probably going to try and close the gap. Unfortunately, not quite enough speed. Rowdy just has too much in that Aston Martin for Ryan to be able to do much about it with the DRS open, but does possibly have the slightly better cornering for these next couple, as he gets that gap down to less than 7 or just over 7 tenths. Rowdy is trying to break that DRS gap, isn't actually using much battery currently, so looking very, very good. Probably just trying to save as much as he can for the final few laps in a moment. As we look further down the grid, currently 7 tenths behind Capitano, who's on a mission right now. It's absolutely flying. Will have his work cut out though to try and gain any more time on Tin Man. We'll need a miracle to gain 12 seconds in the next 3 and a bit laps. He is going to need an absolute miracle. He's going to need some wings from somewhere and just fly through these 12 seconds. But Tin Man doing a very good job. Does have or possibly will have DRS on McCoy, who's up to P9 from the back of the grid. Unfortunately, did have a qualifying ban, but up into P9, having a very, very good race. Does have Tin Man with DRS open at the minute. Unfortunately, just a little bit too quick for the Sauber driver. Looking very, very strong though, as all drivers have this race, and all of them giving us a brilliant battles throughout. So, our time penalties in this race, we've got a fair few 3 seconds and a couple of drivers on 6 seconds. Unfortunate for them guys, but Tin Man does make the move on McCoy here. Tries to get it to stick into turn 1 and 2 and 3. McCoy just slightly off track. Tin Man round the inside, and as they go side by side now into turn 5. Tin Man on the outside has got the DRS, will probably stay ahead now. He does make it stick now with the DRS enabled and helping him a little bit there. What a battle that was down into turn 1, 2, 3 and 4. Tin Man goes off track slightly, does stay ahead. Didn't do anything wrong there on the rejoin, but McCoy will have DRS no doubt in the next couple of corners. Well, as we come out of this horrible part of the track, not the most fun the drivers can have through there. So McCoy with his DRS wide open. Will he try and make the move? Not quite close enough. Oh, does go straight on there. Not what McCoy would have wanted. Just outbroke himself there, and then definitely not what he would have wanted there. As Capitano now back up into the top 10, it's absolutely flying. He's taken so much time out of the drivers ahead. He's now 6.7 behind Tin Man, who's so far having a pretty good race. McCoy unfortunately now just outside the point, as Suck has an unfortunate incident there. We've got fives now, currently 8.7 ahead of Ago. Now just starting to try and close the gap. We've got Oscar 1.4 behind Ago. No wonder Ago has started to speed up a little bit. He has got Oscar very, very close behind. 1.5 seconds at the minute. Currently on a lap, slightly fresher tyres, and trying to close this gap by a lot more than what it currently is. So as you can see here for the tyres, we've got 4 drivers on the mediums of Shifty, 7, Capitano and Anime, Thief on the softs, and everyone else currently on the hard tyres, with Pizza on 20 at 8 lap hold tyres here. Has done a magnificent stint on them, doing very, very well, and we are on the final lap of the race. Fives has led this from start to finish, looking very, very strong here, so all race long, even in qualifying, looked very, very strong, and just taking this race by storm. Currently 8 seconds ahead of Ago, who's also had a pretty good race here, and I'm now up to 4th as well. Oliver and Rowdy battling out here right till the end. They are less than half a second as we go into the second part of this race. Oh, Rowdy just trying to stick it up the inside, but does have a bit of contact there. That's going to damage him for the final part of this race. We will come back on board that in a moment, as Fives now crosses the line to win this race. Rowdy and Oliver, I'm not too sure what's happened there. It does bring Ryan in to play for this, as Oscar, Ago both cross the line. Rowdy will cross the line in a minute, has got Ryan pretty close behind him. Anime does finish 4th. Rowdy will come across the line in 5th here, followed by Ryan. Oliver will finish the race in 7th, with Adam second behind. Tin Man just under 3 seconds. Capitano does cross the line in 10th. 7 now, with current P11 spot, will cross the line there. McCoy will, and Pizza will be our final couple of drivers in a moment, as McCoy finishes 12th, Will in 13th, and Pizza, who done a brilliant stint with them hard tyres, in 16th place. We have had some brilliant battles here today in this race. Some fantastic driving from almost everyone. A few bumps in the opening lap, with everyone very, very close together. But overall, some entertaining battles between everyone here. Some good little overtakes here and there, and are very, very well done on a brilliant drive there from our race winner Fives. Took this race by storm and smashed it out of the park from start to finish. Basically led every single lap. Took pole position as well, I believe. Yep, took pole position. Led every single lap pretty much, apart from when he boxed, and just drove fantastically all race long. Oscar there in 2nd place, up a fair few spots as well, had another brilliant race for himself and the Alpine team. Ago up into 3rd place, unfortunately did drop a position after crossing the line 2nd, but does still get a podium. Anime, our championship leader, up into 4th from 8th place, will extend his lead at the top of the championship now as well by a further 12 points. So we'll probably be just over 40 points ahead going into the next race. Rowdy up into 5th, brilliant drive there for him, 9 places gained, fantastic race all over for him, with Aston Martin, or crucial points for Aston Martin in that championship fight with Ferrari. So, thank you everyone for watching. This has been round 11 in Singapore with CanAm. We will be back next week for round 12 in Australia. Another good race. Hope to see you all there. And until next time, bye bye.